Hello and welcome to Brush My Econ channel. Today we'll talk about remainders. We'll see what is remainder. We'll go through remainder notation. We'll take a couple of examples of that. We'll see how to find remainders using long division method. Then what is remainder range? We'll go through a couple of problem types. Problems on finding remainders. Finding divisor when remainder is given. Finding dividend when one divisor and one remainder is given. Finding dividend when two divisors and remainders are given. Then we'll see how to find remainder of sum of two numbers by a number, how to find remainder of difference of two numbers by a number, then remainder of product of two numbers by a number. Now let's start by seeing what is a remainder. Let's try to understand it by taking a simple problem. So if we try to divide 10 apples among 3 kids equally, then how many apples will be left? Assuming that apples cannot be cut and divided among the kids. So let's try it out. Let's say we have 10 apples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Now let's try to divide them by taking one at a time. So I have divided this 3, then this 3, then this 3, right? So I have 3 kids and I have divided 3 apples among them and I'm left with 1 apple. So if I'm trying to divide 10 apples among 3 kids equally, then I'll be left with 1 apple. So 1 becomes my remainder. Now let's see the definition of remainder. So dividend is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. If we try to map it with the previous problem, 10 was our dividend. We were trying to divide it by 3, so 3 becomes our divisor. We split the apples into 3 each, so 3 becomes our quotient and 1 becomes our remainder. So this is how we are going to write a remainder equation where the number which we are trying to divide becomes our dividend. The number by which we are trying to divide becomes our divisor. And the number which is left after division will be nothing but our remainder. Now let's go through remainder notation. So a couple of times you'll see questions like this, where they have given you a number when divided by 5 gives you 3 as remainder. That means I'm trying to divide a number, let's say the number is n, by a number 5. So I can write this as dividend is equal to divisor, which is 5, multiplied by quotient, let's say it is k, giving us 3 as remainder. That where k is nothing but the quotient and it's actually an integer value. So I can write a number n, which when divided by 5 gives us 3 remainder as n is equal to 5k plus 3. Let's try out the second one. A number when divided by 13 gives us 5 as remainder. So I can write the number n as 13k plus 5, where k is an integer. Let's try the third one. So number when divided by 16 gives us 3 as remainder. So I can write the number n as 16k plus 3. Now let's see how can you find remainder using the long division method. So let's say you have a problem where you have to find the remainder of 100 by 3. So to solve this, you start taking the numbers from the left hand side. So if I look from the left hand side, the first number is 1. Definitely 1 cannot be divided by 3. So I will go for the next digit, which is 0. So I'll club both of them and try to divide it by 3. I know that 3 times 3 is 9. So I'll multiply 3 and 3 to get 9 and write 9 below 10. Then I will subtract 9 from 10 to get 1. Again 1 doesn't go by 3. So I will take the 0 down to have 10 again. And I know 3 into 3 becomes 9. So this becomes 9 and I'm left with 1. So 1 becomes my remainder. Now in general, we denote this as 33 R1. That means 100 when divided by 3 gives us 33 as the quotient and 1 as the remainder. Now let's see what is remainder range. Let's say I'm trying to divide a number n by 4. Now what are the possible values of remainders I can get? So if I would have taken n as, let's say, 5, I would have got a remainder of 1. If n was 4, I would have got a remainder of 0. If n was 6, I would have got a remainder of 2. If n was 7, I would have got a remainder of 3. And if n was 8, I would have again got a remainder of 0. So that means when I'm trying to divide n by 4, I can get remainders from 0 to 3. That becomes my remainder range. So in general, if I'm trying to divide a number by k, then I can get remainders from 0 to k minus 1. Let's try out an example. So x when divided by a gives us 3 as remainder. That means when I'm trying to divide x by a, I'm getting a remainder of 3. Then the question says y when divided by b gives us 4 as remainder. So y when divided by b gives us 4 as remainder. And they're asking find the minimum value of a plus b. Now I know when I'm trying to divide x by a, it is giving me 3 as remainder. That means a has to be some number greater than 3 first of all. So I have a is greater than equal to 4. Similarly, y when divided by b gives us 4 as remainder. That means b has to be greater than equal to 5. Now since we have to find the minimum value of a plus b, so we will take the minimum value of a and minimum value of b. That will give us the minimum value of a plus b as 4 plus 5, which is nothing but 9. Now that we know basics of remainders, let's go through a couple of problem types. So the first problem type is on basic problems on finding remainders. Let's try the first one. Find the remainder when 200 is divided by 3. Let's use the long division method. So I'm trying to divide 200 by 3. I know 2 doesn't go by 3, so I'll take 20. I know 3 into 6 is 18. I have 2 left. I will carry over 0. Again, I can do 3 into 6 is 18. I'll be left with 2. That means 200 when divided by 3 gives me 66 as the quotient and 2 as the remainder. So our answer for the first one is 2. Let's try the second one. Find the remainder when 80 is divided by 7. Let's use the long division method again. 80 by 7. I know 8 goes by 7. So I'll have 7 into 1 is 7. I'll have 1 left. 0 carry over. 7 into 1 is 7. And I'll be left with 3 remainder. That means 80 when divided by 7 gives us 11 as the quotient and 3 as the remainder. So our answer is 3. Let's try the third one. So find the remainder when 100 is divided by 9. Let's use the long division method. So 100 by 9. 9 into 1 is 9. Left with 1, 0 carry over. Again 9 into 1 is 9. So we're left with the remainder of 1. That means 100 when divided by 9 gives us 11 as the quotient and 1 is the remainder. So our answer is 1. Let's try the second problem type. So find the divisor when the remainder is given to you. Let's try the first one. So 20 when divided by which number will give 4 as remainder? If you use remainder notation, 20 can be written as n into k plus 4, where n is the divisor which we are trying to find and k is the quotient. Let's rearrange the equation and we'll have n into k is equal to 20 minus 4 or nothing but 16, or I can write n as 16 divided by k. Now we need to find possible values of n. So let's start by substituting values of k. If I put k is equal to 1, I will get n is equal to 16 by 1 or nothing but 16. If I put k is equal to 2, I will get n is equal to 16 by 2 or nothing but 8. Now I cannot put k is equal to 3 because 16 doesn't go by 3. So let's try with k is equal to 4. That gives us n is equal to 16 by 4 or nothing but 4. But notice one thing here. You are trying to divide 20 by a number and the number was giving you 4 as remainder. That means the divisor or the number from which you're trying to divide 20 has to be greater than 4. So n cannot be equal to 4, what we found just now. So there is no point taking higher values of k and trying. So that means your n can take only 2 values here, which is nothing but n is equal to 8 and n is equal to 16. Let's try the second one. So 50 when divided by which number will give you 7 as remainder? So as we noticed in the previous one, your value of the divisor has to be greater than 7. So your divisor can be 8 or more than 8. So I can write 50 as n into k plus 7. And again, we are trying to find the value of n. We can rearrange this to have n into k is equal to 50 minus 7 or 43. Let's rearrange this equation to have n is equal to 43 by k. Now 43 is a prime number, so it will have only 2 factors, 1 and 43 itself. There is no point trying k is equal to 43 because you'll get n is equal to 1, and we already know that n has to be greater than 7. So that means the only value possible is n is equal to 43 when k is equal to 1. So let's put k is equal to 1. So we'll get n as 43 by 1 or nothing but 43. That means our answer is the divisor should be 43. Let's try next problem type. So in this one, you have to find dividend when one divisor and remainder are given. Let's try the first one. So a number when divided by 7 gives you 4 as remainder. That means I can write the number n as my divisor into quotient k plus remainder. Now my quotient can take any value from 0 onwards. So I can put k is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. So if I put k is equal to 0, I will get the value of n as 7 into 0 plus 4, which is nothing but 4. I can put k is equal to 1, so I'll get the value of n as 7 into 1 plus 4, which is nothing but 11 and so on. So the possible values of the number will be 4, 11, and if you try further, it will be nothing but 18, 25, 32 and so on. Let's try the second one. A number when divided by 12 gives you 5 as remainder. Find the possible values of the number. So we can write the number as 12 into k plus 5. Again, k can take values from 0, 1, 2 and so on. Putting k is equal to 0, we'll get the value of n as 12 into 0 plus 5, which is nothing but 5. Putting k is equal to 1, we'll get the value of n as 12 plus 5, which is nothing but 17 and so on. So the possible values of the number are 5, 17, 29 and so on. Let's try the last one. A number when divided by 15 gives 2 as remainder. So we can write the number as 15k plus 2. K can take values from 0, 1, 2 and so on. Putting k is equal to 0, the value of n will be 15 into 0 plus 2, which is nothing but 2. Putting k is equal to 1, n will be 15 into 1 plus 2, which is 17 and so on. So the possible values of the number will be 2, 17, 32 and so on. Now let's try the next problem type. So in this one, you have to find the dividend when 2 divisors and remainders are given to you. We'll try to solve this problems using 2 methods. Let's try the first method. So a number when divided by 7 gives 4 as remainder. So let's write down the number n as 7k plus 4. And when the same number is divided by 3, it gives us 2 as remainder. That means n is equal to 3t plus 2. Find the possible values of the number. Now in this problem, we got 2 equations for n. And only those equations are the solutions for this problem, which satisfies both of these equations. So what we are going to do is we are going to take values of k from 0, 1 to 3 and so on, find the corresponding values of n. Similarly, we'll take value of t from 0, 1 to 3 and so on, find the corresponding values of n, and take only those values which are common in both of them. So let's start by putting k is equal to 0. we'll get the value of n as 7 into 0 plus 4, which is nothing but 4. K is equal to 1, we'll get the value of n as 7 into 1 plus 4, which is nothing but 11. If you notice, the subsequent values will differ by 7 because that is the only thing which is getting multiplied by k. So I can write the values of n in the first case as 4, 11, 18, 25, 32, 39, 46 and so on. Let's do the same thing for the second one. So if I put t is equal to 0, n will be nothing but 3 into 0 plus 2, which is 2. T is equal to 1, n will be 3 into 1 plus 2, which is nothing but 5, and so on. In the second case, the subsequent values will differ by 3 because 3 is getting multiplied with t. So I can write the values as 2, 5, 8, 11, 14, 17, 20, 23, 26, 29, 32, and so on. Now we need to find the possible values of n. And as we discussed, we are going to consider only those values which are common in both of them. So that means one value is 11 and the second value is 32. So we got the two values as 11 and 32. Let's check it out whether those values are correct or not. So 11 when divided by 7 gives us 4 remainder, and 11 when divided by 3 gives us 2 remainder. That means it is correct. 32 when divided by 7 gives us 4 remainder. That is correct. And 32 when divided by 3 gives us 2 remainder. So that is also correct. Let's try out one more using method 1. So number when divided by 8 gives 5 as remainder. So let's take the number as 8k plus 5. And when the same number is divided by 5, it gives 3 as remainder. Let's take the number as 5t plus 3. We'll follow the same process. We'll start putting values of k from 0, 1 to 3 and so on, and values of t from 0, 1 to 3 and so on. Consider only the values which are common in both of them. So if I put k is equal to 0, I'll get the value of n as 8 into 0 plus 5, which is nothing but 5. If I put k is equal to 1, so 8 into 1 plus 5, which is 13 and so on. And if you notice, the subsequent values will differ by 8. So I can write the values of n as 5, 13, 21, 29, 37, 45 and so on. Let's do the same thing in the second case. So if I put t is equal to 0, n will be 5 into 0 plus 3, which is 3. T is equal to 1, n is equal to 5 into 1 plus 3, which is 8 and so on. And the subsequent values will differ by 5 because 5 is getting multiplied with t. So I can write the values of n in the second case as 3, 8, 13, 18, 23, 28, 33, 38 and so on. And if you look at the common values, the common value is 13 in this case. Let's check it out if 13 is correct. So 13 when divided by 8 gives 5 as remainder, which is true. And 13 when divided by 5 gives us 3 remainder. That is also true. Now you'll notice that although this method is quite simple, but it is very time consuming because as you saw in this case, we couldn't find the second value, right? It might be somewhere further. So let's look at method 2, which is a bit easier to solve as compared to this one. So let's take the first question, which we have discussed before. So n is equal to 7k plus 4 and n is also equal to 3t plus 2. Now what we are going to do in this one is we are going to equate both values of n. So I can write 7k plus 4 is equal to 3t plus 2 or nothing but t is equal to 7k plus 4 minus 2 divided by 3, which is nothing but 7k plus 2 divided by 3. Now only those values of k which will give us t as an integer will give us common values in both of these equations. What I mean by that is, So let me take k is equal to 1. So if I take k is equal to 1, t will become 7 into 1 plus 2 divided by 3, or 9 by 3, which is 3, which is an integer. So that means when I take k is equal to 1 and whatever value of n I'm getting, that will actually give me a common value in these two equations. So I can use that and find the value of n as 7 plus 4, which is 11. Let's try to find other values of k, which will give us t as an integer. So if I put k is equal to 2, I'm going to get 7 into 2, 14, plus 2, 16, which doesn't go by 3. K equal to 3 will not give me an integer value of t. Let me try k is equal to 4. So this will give us 7 into 4 plus 2 divided by 3, which is nothing but 30 by 3, which is 10. That means t is an integer. So when n is equal to 4, we are going to get a common value in both of these equations. So let's try k is equal to 4, and we are going to get the value as 32. And if you remember, these are the two values of n which we got in the previous problem also. So if you notice, this method is actually quite easier and less time consuming as compared to the previous one. Let's try out this method in one more problem. So n when divided by 8 gives 5 as remainder. So n is equal to 8k plus 5. And when it is divided by 5, it gives 3 as remainder. So is equal to 5t plus 3. So I can rearrange this and write t is equal to 8k plus 5 minus 3 divided by 5, or nothing but 8k plus 2 divided by 5. Now only those values of k which will give us t as integer will give us common values in both of these equations. I can see right away that when I put k is equal to 1, I'm going to get the numerator as 10, which is divisible by 5. That means when k is 1, the value of n which we'll get will be common in both of them, which is nothing but 30. Let's try to find the other value which we are not able to find in the previous one. So I put k is equal to 2, I'm going to get 18. So that's not possible. Notice that I have 5 in the denominator and I have an even number in the numerator. So the numerator will be divisible by 5 only when the numerator is a multiple of 10. I already have a 2. That means whatever value of k I'm putting, 8 into k, should have units digit as 8. I know 1 will be satisfied. Similarly, if I put k is equal to 6, I know 8 into 6 is 48. So even that will be satisfied. So when k is equal to 6, I'm going to get a common value in both of them. So let's try it out. So when k is 6, value of n will be 8 into 6, which is 48, plus 5, which is 53. Let's check if 53 is the right number. So 53 when divided by 8 gives us 5 as remainder, which is correct. 8 into 6 is 48 plus 5 is 53. And 53 when divided by 5 gives us 3 as remainder, which is also correct because 53 is 50 plus 3. So as you notice, this method is actually less time consuming as compared to the previous one. Now let's learn other concepts of remainders. So how can we find remainders of sum of two numbers by a particular number? Let's take an example. So let's say I'm trying to find remainder of 21 by 5. I know this remainder will be 1. Now what happens if I break this 21 as, let's say, 17 and 4 and try to find remainder of 17 by 5 and 4 by 5 separately? So let's do that. So 17 by 5 plus 4 by 5. I know 17 by 5 remainder is 2 and this remainder is 4. So my combined remainder is 2 plus 4, which is nothing but 6. So I tried dividing a couple of numbers by 5 and I got remainder as 6. And I know that is not correct because the remainder has to be less than 5. So I'm going to divide this 6 again by 5 to get the final remainder as 1. So the theory behind this is, if you are trying to divide a number by a particular number, let's say 5 in this case, then you can very well break that number into two numbers, find the individual remainders by 5, add the remainders, and you will still get the same remainder. Let's see how we can use this knowledge in a couple of problems. Let's try the first one. A number when divided by 12 gives 3 as remainder. using the notation, I can write the number n as 12k plus 3. Now we have to find the remainder when the number is divided by 4. So let's try to divide this number by 4. And as we have learned, we can separate 12k and 3 and divide them individually by 4. I know 12 goes by 4, so that means this will give me 0 remainder and this will give me 3 remainder. So my total remainder will be 0 plus 3, which is nothing but 3. Now notice one thing here. We were trying to divide a number 3 by a number which is greater than 3. Now whenever this is the case, your remainder will be the numerator itself. That's why we got the remainder as 3. So keep that in mind. Whenever you're trying to divide a number with a number greater than the number, then the remainder will be number itself. Let's try out the second one. A number when divided by 15 gives 6 as remainder. So we can write the number as 15k plus 6. And we have to find the remainder when the number is divided by 5. Let's divide this by 5. Now we can separate them. So 15k by 5 plus 6 by 5. 15 is divisible by 5. So we'll get 0 remainder here. And 6 when divided by 5 will give us 1 remainder. So our final remainder will be 1. Now let's see what happens when you try to find remainder of difference of two numbers by a number. So let's take the same example. So let's take 21 by 5. We know the remainder is 1. Now what happens if I replace 21 by, let's say 23 minus 2 and try to divide that by 5. Again, we can break them into two different numbers. So 25 by 5 minus 2 by 5. 25 by 5 I know will give me 3 remainder and 2 by 5 will give me 2 remainder. So my final remainder will be 1. So like in case of addition, you can do the same thing in case of subtraction. So you can break a number into difference of two numbers. You can divide the difference by the same number and you will still end up getting the same remainder. Now let's see what happens when you try to take remainder of product of two numbers by a particular number. So let's take the same example. So let's try to find remainder of 21 by 5. We know the remainder is 1. Let's break 21 as 3 into 7 and try to take the remainder separately. So 3 by 5 multiplied by 7 by 5. I know 3 by 5 remainder is 3 and 7 by 5 remainder is 2. So my final remainder is 3 into 2, which is 6. Again, the remainder cannot be greater than 5. So I need to divide 6 by 5 to get the final remainder as 1. Now let's use this concept in a couple of problems. So let's try the first one. So we have to find remainder of 136 multiplied by 148 multiplied by 298 by 5. So I can write them separately and try to find individual remainders. I know 136 by 5 remainder is 1, 148 by 5 remainder is 3, and 298 by 5 again remainder is 3. So my total remainder is 9. But I was trying to divide the numbers by 5, so I cannot get a remainder greater than 5. I'll again divide 9 by 5 to get the final remainder as 4. So answer for the first one is 4. Let's try the second one. So again I can write them separately. 1205 by 12 multiplied by 1208 by 12 multiplied by 2404 by 12. I know this remainder is 5 because 1200 is divisible by 12. The second remainder is 8 and the third remainder is 4. Now we can multiply all of them or we can multiply 2 together. So I'm going to multiply 8 into 4 together to have 32. I know this remainder is way bigger than 12. So I can again divide them individually by 12. The first one will give me 5 remainder and the second one will give me 12 into 2 is 24. So that will give me 8 remainder, which is nothing but 40. Again, 40 is greater than 12. So I can divide 40 by 12 to get the final remainder as 4. So answer for the second one is also 4. I hope you were able to learn a lot of concepts about remainders and also the typical problems which you will see in remainders. If you did, please go ahead and like the video, provide your valuable comments and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.